Hello everyone once again. Further in the continuation of flow of control topics which we have already discussed in the first session. Now in the second session we will discuss about the iterational constructs. Uh, Iterational constructs are very important, and as we know that they are very much required in the solution of the practical problems of real world. So let us continue. What are iterational construct, or in other words the loops? Iterational construct is a type of flow control statement that executes some statements up to a specific number of times or based on a condition. We can execute some statements again and again repeatedly up to a specific number of times as well as up to a condition until and unless it is true. It can broadly be divided into two categories. One is definite loop and the second one is indefinite loop or construct. Definite loop means, for example, we have the for loop up to a specific number, as you can see on the screen. For loop means we already know that how much times actually the for loop is going to be executed, and the statements under the block of for loop or the body of for loop will be going to execute. So we already know that for loop is a definite loop, means we already know before the execution of the for loop that how much number of times it is going to be executed. So it is called a definite loop. The second one is called the indefinite loop. For its example is while loop, in which we execute some statements again and again until and unless a specific condition is true. Once again, we can say, when the condition of the while loop, in other words, we can say the condition of the while loop is true, then and only then, until then, the statements of the while loop will be keep on executing. Let us have some more exploration on this one in the coming slides. First of all, we will discuss about the for iterational construct in detail. For iterational construct is a type of flow control statement, just we have discussed earlier, that executes some statements again and again if a particular condition is true. It can also be understood by the given flow chart. As you can see on the screen, if we are suppose entering into the loop, we are checking a text expression. On maximum times it is a numeric conditions. So that is why if the condition is true, the body of the loop keep on executing, and until and unless the condition of the text expression or the condition of the loop gets executed, it gets false and we will quit the loop. Let us see the syntax of the for loop. As you can see on the screen, for counter in sequence and its statements. Here counter is a variable which we are requiring to just count again and again that how many times the loop has already been executed and how much number of times it is going to be executed. So for counter in sequence, here counter is a variable and in sequence is you can say any data type, sequence data type, like we have the list, like we have the string, or like a function called the range, which will generate a sequence of numbers. We will discuss the examples on this in detail in coming slides. So far we can understand that through the given example, just you can see on the screen, for I in range 2, 6 colon. So for is the syntax, I is here the counter variable which is going to count and execute the for loop. In is already a keyword which we had learned in class 11th, which will just check the range of values. Now here the range is coming from the range function. We will discuss the range function in the coming slide. So range function here generates a sequence of numbers starting from 2 up to the 5, means 1 less than the 6, the last, or we call the ending limit. And the increment is by default here, the step value is by default here the 1. So first of all you can just see the screen, the output. So first of all the value of I is 2, the starting value, then 1 is incremented, the step value 1, then from value 2 to 3 I get 2 to 3, and again coming back to into the loop, the value of I means 3 get printed, likewise 4 printed, likewise 5 printed. So sorry, this is the case how we can execute the for loop. Now coming next to our for construct loop, we have to understand the functioning of the range function, as it is very much used in the execution of for loop. So what is it? Just look at here. Range function parameters means we have three kinds of parameters as we have discussed earlier, and you can just see the examples given below. First, the parameter is the start. Start is the starting number of the sequence. Second parameter is stop. Stop generates numbers up to but not including these numbers, means one less than this number. For example, the 1 is the start in the given example and 7 is the stop. So that means the loop will be executed up to 6, not 7. The last parameter is the step. Step is the optional one, means if we are not giving any step value, that means it will by default it will take 1. Otherwise, if we are just like we are giving an example, the step value 2, that means it will every time increase the value of I variable, counter variable, by 2. So just if you can look at the example, initially for I in range 1 means the start value of I is 1. Then it gets 2. Step value increased, gets to 1 plus 2, 3. Then the value of 3 get printed into the loop. Then the plus 2 again added, the value of I gets 5 from 3 gets increased by 2. Then 5 will be printed, and if from 5 the value of I gets 7, so it is not possible to execute the for loop. So here loop will automatically stop. I think from this example the range function or the functionality of this function range is clear, that how it generates a sequence of numbers and how much useful it is in the execution of for loop. Okay, let us move forward. Now for loop with else, this is the another form of for loop. Here simply what we can understand that just we are executing a for loop. When the condition of the for loop gets false, means means the loop gets stopped after the condition gets false, then we can execute the statements given in the else block here. So just if you can look at the example, we are extended our previous example, that for I in range 1, 7, 2 print I. So we are getting the values 1, 3 and 5 in the output, as you can see, and until and unless the condition of for loop gets false, the block else get executed and we are getting the statement as an output loop over. So this is as simple as we are just executing the else part within a if, just like we are executing the else part of a for. This is an edit functionality which is not given in the C++, but here in Python it is very much available. So I think we should move further. Nested for loop, it is a very important topic, as many of the programs in class 12th as well as in class 11th we have learnt about this, and it is very much required for various purposes. So let us now first of all discuss about what is nested for loop means. It simply means like we have if in another if called nested if, like we have the one for in another for called the nested for. The outer for is the loop in which one another inner for loop is contained or nested. So just look at this example to get the more understanding. We are executing an outer loop here of counter variable I for I in range 1, 4. In this we are executing one more inner for loop for j. Here the counter variable is j in range 1, 6. How can we understand this? That for I in range 1 means here the value of I is 1, and for the value of I 1, the inner loop j will be executed from 1 to 5 as given in the range function, and print j and equals to space. So here if you can see in the output 1 2 3 4 5, one line, one row is coming as an output. As soon as the inner loop gets false or stop execution, the next statement, again if you can just see the print statement, it is the statement of the outer for loop, it will get executed, and its function is just to simply create a new line so that the next output will come in the next line. Again the iteration comes again in the outer loop, and the value of I get increased from 1 to 2, then 2 to 3, then 3 to 4, and from 3 to 4 it will stop the execution of the for loop, outer for loop. So for every iteration of outer loop, the inner loop will execute full and complete. That is why we can just see the output of this particular code 1 2 3 4 5, because every time the inner loop is going to execute from the 1 2 3 4 5 as j in range 1 to 6. So that is why we are just getting this kind of output. I think it is a very useful example, and you can generate more various good great outputs. And also we have learned this concept in class 11. I think it is very much revised and clear. Let us move ahead. The while iterational construct, it is a kind of loop, as we have discussed earlier, that in which is based on a particular condition. Here the condition may be a number, maybe, or anything, or a combination of conditions or an expression. So here if we just can see the flow chart, the entering while loop test expression, if it is true, then the body of the loop will get executed and again test the condition, then the loop will keep on continuing. As soon as the condition gets false, the while loop stop executing. So let us understand more about while loop. While iterational construct, its syntax is simply while, giving while keyword and condition colon and its statement. Just see an example. X, here we are declaring a variable x with the initial value 1 and executing the while loop while x is less than equals to 5, means this loop will execute until and unless the value of x is less than equals to 5. It will print the value of x and it will again increase the value of x by 1. You can note here that in while loop there is no step value kind of thing. It is missing in while loop, but it is already given in the for loop. So we have to explicitly mention here for the increment or decrement of the while loop, because if we are not giving any increment or decrement, then the loop will go infinite times and we are not able to get a particular output. So in the case of while loop, we always have to think about its extension and execution, that how its step value will get be increased or decreased, because until and unless we have to stop a loop, we have a condition. But if condition will be get false only if we are increasing or decreasing a counter variable. Here x is going to act as a counter variable. As you can see the output, initial value of x is 1, we are printing the value of x 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. As soon as the value of x gets 6, the condition of while loop x less than equals to 5 gets false and the loop gets stopped. Okay, so let us move ahead. Just like we have discussed for with else, we have the while with else. As soon as the condition of while is true, we will keep on executing the statements of while loop block, and as soon as the condition gets false of while loop, the block statements of the block else will get executed. As you can just see the example, the previous example, we have just extend the else statement, else condition get false, so execute else. You can just see the output 1 2 3 4 5 condition gets false, so execute else. It is very simple, as we can understand. Moving ahead to our next, a very important topic called the jump statements. Jump statements are used to transfer the program's control from one location to another, means these are used to alter the flow of loop, like to skip a part of a loop or to terminate a loop. There are broadly two types of jump statements used in Python: break and continue. Let us discuss in detail. These are very important topics, and may be called in the questions of outputs in board exams also. So please take focus of these particular jump statements. Break. Break jump statement is used to exit the current loop and shift the execution flow outside loop. Just look at the example for CTR in India. India is a sequence, a string sequence, and CTR is the counter variable. If CTR equals to D, if the value of CTR equals to D, then print here loop breaks as we are giving the break keyword. If the value of CTR is D, then it will break the loop and shift the control outside the loop. Print CTR. So when the value of CTR is I, it will print I. The value of CTR is N, it will print N. And as soon as the value of CTR gets D, it will go in the if condition and print here loop breaks, and the break keyword gets executed and shift the control outside the loop. In simple words, break statements is used to terminate the currently going on loop and iteration of the loop and shift the control outside the loop. It is a very important topic and very much asked in the examinations. Let us move to our next topic, continue. Continue is a jump statement is used to bypass or skips the current execution of statements in a loop and shift the control to the next iteration of the loop. In other words, if a continue statement is given in a loop, then the statements below continue statement will not get executed, and the execution control of the loop gets to the next iteration of the loop. This we can understand more with the help of an example. Just discuss about the previous example. For CTR in India, if CTR equals to D, this loop iteration skips, means as soon as the value of CTR comes D, then the print CTR statement will not get executed, and this loop iteration skips statement will get executed, as you can see and discussed. So it is a very important topic. Again we are revising it. The continue statement is used to bypass the currently going on iteration and just jump the execution control over to the next iteration of the loop. That is why when the value of CTR in this particular example comes D, it will just skip the given below statements like PTR, CTR and just keep on executing the next iteration. Means the value of CTR goes directly from D to I, and that is why it is as you can see in the output. So these are very important jump statements, and I hope all of you understand these particular keywords and jump statements and iteration for while. And thanks all of you for understanding this one. Thank you very much.